We were invited along this week for a rare tour with TV cameras inside one of the major Jewish community schools. It was a chance to see how teachers and the community are handling the growing risks and the fears that the children face. Jewish News Channel reporter Daniel Lukowitz went to Masada College at St Ives in Sydney for this exclusive report.
I think that in Australia, we've always been really strong in our identity, and our students have always felt fairly safe as Jews. They haven't really witnessed a lot of anti-Semitism. And although that's always been there, and we know that, and that's why we've always had security around Jewish schools and Jewish institutions, all of a sudden, the reason for having that security became abundantly clear. Australia became a place that no longer felt particularly safe. On October 9th, that was the Monday after October 7th, which was a Saturday, and we came in and the students were absolutely devastated. Staff were walking around sobbing, Jewish and non-Jewish staff. The community was distraught and destroyed, and actually it was a very quiet space to be on that day, and actually probably for a couple of weeks it was really quiet here. People were feeling very down. There was just incredible trauma. It was a community in trauma. And at that time, we were just trying to do something positive for our students and for our staff. And we started to look into this activity that we wanted to put on and hiring those games.
A Sydney business owner is under fire for refusing to hire out a jumping castle to a Jewish high school and then boasting about it on social media.
To have that very blatant anti-Semitism face us in such a glaring manner was just enormous. It was another devastation on top of the devastation we were feeling. So we had that feeling of mourning for the event that took place on October 7th and the massacre that took place. We were feeling absolutely distraught about all of the kidnapped victims sitting in Gaza. We had no idea what was happening with them. And then suddenly to realise or to feel that the whole world was against us. And that is what it felt like when suddenly we were all over the newspapers, all over social media, because an organisation had decided to vilify us on the basis that we are Jewish. Entirely on the basis that we are Jewish, that our innocent children are Jewish and therefore need to be vilified or are bad.
On this wall we've got not only famous people from Jewish history, David Ben-Gurion, Queen Esther, Nazi hunter Elie Wiesel, but you've also got Nelson Mandela, who's not Jewish but was considered, leader in bringing different communities together. And that's what you've done at Masada College as well, isn't it? Can you tell me a bit about that?
I hope that that's what we do at Masada College. We are very fortunate in that we are one of the few Jewish schools, certainly in Australia, but possibly worldwide, to have students who are Jewish and students who are not Jewish here. And I think that it's an incredible point of pride, and it is a great honour and privilege to have a school like that, particularly at this time after October 7th, where more than any time in history we need allies. And so what we have are students and families in our school who aren't Jewish but have learned to love the Jewish people and to love Judaism and to be supporters of Israel and of the Jewish people. And we also have the opportunity for our own Jewish students to be able to speak to people outside of their own Jewish community bubble and to talk about those issues that we need to deal with in the world today. And so we're able to talk about Israel and what's going on there, and Gaza and what is going on there. And our students are able to have those very difficult conversations and have the skills to be able to speak to people about these matters. So we give them the information, they learn about the history, they learn about our culture, they learn about how we got to where we're at in Israel, and they're able to have difficult conversations on matters that other young Jewish students in Jewish schools only get to have when they leave school and go to university. And we know for many of our Jewish students that can be quite a shock for them. But for Masada students, we work really hard to help them to learn the information they need and develop those skills and practice those skills at school so that they're able to speak with anyone about the matters that are facing us today.
Coming from an ordinary Australian school, western suburbs of Sydney, wide open gates, cars, parents, students coming and going, and then coming to a Jewish school that has very unique security challenges. How did you feel the difference?
It's enormous, absolutely enormous. I never thought about security at all as a principal of a school in Western Sydney. It wasn't an issue. Students came and went, parents came and went. Other than our COVID lockdowns, which of course were not an external security threat like we have here, it just wasn't something that I ever had to deal with at all. And I understood in coming to Masada College that security would be a big thing, even before October 7th, because of course I went to a Jewish school in Sydney's eastern suburbs, and I remember even years ago that there was a threat. There's always been a threat to the Jewish people. We had Molotov cocktails thrown at our school a couple of times when I was in high school all those years ago, and so we would have a day off school, and but after October 7th, we really needed to look at our security, and we needed to increase the security that we already had. And we've done so. We have extra armed guards on at all times, and we spend a lot of time strategizing security at the school, because our number one priority is to keep our students, our staff and our parents safe. And not only do we need to keep them physically safe, we also need to give them the psychological safety of knowing that we've got this. We've got security underhand, and our community is absolutely safe at Masada College. And people drive by and they say, it looks like a fortress. And it is a fortress. It has to be a fortress, because that's the only way that we can guarantee the safety of our community in a place, in a country which sadly has a large amount of anti-Semitism now. And so we need to do that so that we are physically safe.
So your students are walking through the city, and a group of anti-Israel protesters, all university age I'm guessing,
Yep.
have decided to get stuck into school kids. How is that possible in a country like ours?
I think that one of the issues that we're facing is the impact of social media and one-liners. And so what people in our society are lacking is historical context and depth of knowledge. And they're very quick to take a strong stance on something that they know nothing about. Social media can make you feel like you know so much. And it's quite polarizing. You come out of whatever you're looking at online feeling very black and white about issues that have immense context and immense amount of information that is required to really understand them. And I think that's what we're facing at the moment, really. People who feel that they know everything when they know very little about very, very complex matters. And that's why it's so important for our students to really have that knowledge, to have a depth of knowledge and a depth of understanding, and the ability to have difficult conversations so that they can keep their cool when they're faced with one-liners that are very hard to take, and that they're then able to educate people in a very, very calm way and with empathy and armed with the knowledge that they need to have those conversations. And I think that's our number one priority here, really, at the moment. That's what they need when they leave Masada College.
So tell me about the slogan you have up there.
Together we are more 2024. So our student leaders come up with a motto for each year, and they came up with the motto for this year before October 7th, 2023. But it was just so serendipitous that it just worked so well for where we are today, because what we know now is that our Jewish community want to be inside the community, our students want to be in the community, and we do feel safer and stronger when we're together and we're able to rejoice in our identity and support one another. And so it really is a wonderful motto, Together we are more 2024, and it's just wonderful for the year that we're living and the time that we're living through.